Hello, I'm Dr. Liz Cruz, gastroenterologist based out of Phoenix, Arizona. And today I wanted to share with you the story about my love affair with coffee. But before we do that, let's get the coffee brewing, okay? And then I'll tell you a little story. All right, so I already kind of cheated. I got some water ready to go. And so we'll pour that in. And this is my little baby coffee maker, which I absolutely love. It's so easy to use. I use natural brown coffee filters. They're a little bit better than the white filters. I'm not exactly sure why. I think it has to do with the way that they make it and the chemicals. But anyways, I always use a brown, and I've already got my little filter in here. And we're going to go ahead and put some coffee in here. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about this coffee in just a little bit, okay? All right, so I just wanted to get this started. Some coffee brewing while we talk. All right, very good. All right, so my love affair with coffee started at a very young age. My mother tells stories about my love for coffee dating back to when I was a toddler. So I probably had just learned how to walk. Maybe I was a year, maybe a little bit more, anywhere between a year and 2 years. I started a very bad habit, and that was stealing my dad's coffee mug. My dad drank a lot of coffee, a true Puerto Rican, that is. He drank a lot of Café Bustelo. So I have a love for this coffee, but he would drink a lot of coffee. We learned how to make coffee at a young age from my dad. And so he had, he drank his coffee and he always left a little bit at the end. And supposedly, from what my mom says, I would steal that mug, go hide in the closet and drink it. So apparently I've been drinking coffee since I was a toddler. But that's nothing because in Puerto Rico, my cousins started drinking coffee. They had coffee in their bottles when they were little. So you either had milk, coffee, or quick strawberry or chocolate flavored. So I love coffee. I didn't really start drinking coffee though until I had already graduated from medical school. I was in the Navy, and I believe that that's probably when I started drinking coffee. So even though I grew up with it and I made it from my dad, other than me stealing it as a toddler and hiding in the closet, I didn't drink coffee through high school nor through college, surprisingly, despite all the long nights. But it was in the Navy where I started drinking coffee. And we had a group of women. We were all internal medicine physicians there at the Naval Hospital. And every morning we'd get together and we'd go to the coffee shop there at the hospital. We'd have our coffee. And I think that that's where I really started drinking it. So then I went into gastroenterology and I drank a ton of coffee. And I used to put sugar in it. And then I remember when I was in my training that somebody talked to me and they're like, you know what? I know you love your coffee, but you might want to consider just keeping the sugar out of it. Okay, so fine. I eliminated sugar, and that really wasn't difficult because I just love the flavor of coffee. And I realized that I didn't need the sugar, but it's coffee with a ton of cream. All right. I mean, I take my coffee cream with a little coffee. And it's the cream that gives it that rich flavor. So I love coffee, drinking coffee. I get married, drinking coffee every day, at least, 1 or 2 cups in the morning. And not to wake me up, but just because I love the flavor and the smell of it. Just as I make it right now, like the flavor, the scent of coffee is just so good. Then what started happening, I started noticing. So this is now in my 30s. I'm starting to get like neck pains. I'm starting to get like aches. And it wasn't either it wasn't from, I was like, okay, is it from standing? Because I stand every day doing colonoscopies and endoscopies. But I didn't think it was from that. I was really trying to be careful, as careful as I could with my posture, and then Tina and I started on our wellness journey. And one of the things that I learned about coffee is that it is a very acidic beverage. And that acidity that we put into our bodies, our body starts to feel it in different ways. Tina and I talked about it, and she was like, maybe it's a coffee. Maybe why don't you give the coffee a break and let's see if your aches and pains that you're having. And it was just up in here in my shoulders and my neck. And so Very difficult for me to do, but I went ahead and gave up coffee, gave it up for a few months, and lo and behold, those pains disappeared. Okay. And I was very sad that it was the coffee, most likely that was causing it. And again, it's probably because it is a very acidic drink. Other than coffee, I didn't drink anything else. I mean, I didn't drink sodas. I didn't drink any energy drinks. I mean, it was just basically coffee in the mornings, 1 to 2 cups, and then I would hydrate through the day. But apparently, it was enough acidity that I started to feel it. And when I stopped drinking it, the aches and pains went away. And so I tested it and I went back to drinking coffee. And sure enough, I got the aches and pains again. And, and it was like I felt like I really had no choice. So it was either live with the aches and pains because I love coffee so much or stop drinking it. And I decided to stop drinking it because it just wasn't comfortable having those aches and pains all the time when the simple solution was to stop drinking my coffee. However, through the years, I have continued to try to figure out ways to drink coffee. And so one of the things that I did try was there's these barley-based coffees that you can get. One of them is called Pero, Pero. I tried every alternative type coffee that I could possibly find to try to find a replacement for my beloved coffee that I had given up. And nothing ever really quite added up. Okay. Then I even tried teas. I've never been a tea drinker, and I know a lot of people are tea drinkers. And so I was like, well, maybe I'll drink teas because there are some teas that are really good for you. And so I started drinking teas, and that just didn't do it. That just didn't do it. So I actually gave the teas up. Nothing against the teas, they were good, but it just didn't cut it. And I was just like, you know what? That's it. I'm not going to drink coffee. I do drink coffee when I go on vacations. I always drink it because it's a treat. I mean, I think some of the best coffee I've had is in Italy. Just amazing coffee. And so I will treat myself. And every once in a while on a weekend, I will treat myself. One of the things though that I have found along the way that has been a game changer and that, I feel is a healthier alternative for coffee is mushroom based coffees. Okay. And there's a lot of them out there now. And maybe you've tried it. I see them on Facebook all the time, and I have tried probably a couple different ones. This one that I'm going to share with you today is one that's made by this company called Laird Superfood, and it is an organic coffee. Okay, so one thing that I did realize is that or that I learned along the way. If you are going to drink coffee, try to drink an organic coffee. All right. Try to drink an organic coffee as much as possible. Okay. Because the beans are not grown with pesticides. And it's just a cleaner coffee. This one is an organic coffee that has functional mushrooms. All right. And for those of you, there may be some of you who have heard about the benefits of mushrooms. And I'm not talking about the kinds that cause um, hallucinations or anything. I'm talking about medical grade type mushroom supplements that you can put in smoothies that you will find in certain food products and beverages. So this one is actually mixed with the coffee. You've got the different mushrooms in here are chaga, lion's mane, maitake, cordyceps, and these are like mushroom extracts that are added to the coffee. So this is a healthier version of coffee, and in addition to it being organic, it also has these mushroom supplements that are considered superfoods. All right, functional mushrooms. This is a coffee that I actually got. Oh, and just a couple things, on this, they're talking about like chaga mushroom. Chaga is known for its antioxidant power. Lion's mane is known for supporting mood and cognition. Maitake mushrooms strengthen and support the immune system. And then the cordyceps is great like for building endurance, and it's loved by endurance performers. Okay, very organic coffee, smells amazing, and I'm going to show you a healthier version. All right, you may have seen some of our previous podcasts that we've done. We did one recently with Dr. Alvin from Evolve, and he taught me a much healthier version because I was like, Alvin, what do I do to replace the half and half, to replace the heavy cream? Well, you can use almond milk, you could use soy milk. I've tried those milks. It doesn't give it that same rich flavor. And so I'm not a big fan of it. I know a lot of people use those for their coffee, and that's fine. I need something to give it a rich, rich flavor. And Alvin taught me that coconut oil, when you take your coffee and blend it at high speeds with coconut oil, it'll give it that frothy, creamy look and taste. All right. I started using coconut oil instead of half and half. And then as far as sweeteners, like I said, I stopped putting sugar in my coffee decades ago. And so I don't really need the sweetener, but if you want to sweeten your coffee, something that's a healthier alternative is organic honey or organic maple syrup. Let me go ahead and bring this little guy over, and we're gonna blend this up. Okay, now, so this is the Vitamix. You don't have to have a Vitamix. You could use a regular blender. All right. Most people have a regular blender. You could use a Ninja blender. I mean, whatever you want to use. You just want to get it up to a high speed, and you could do that very adequately with a regular blender. All right. You take your coffee, put it into the blender. All right, nice and hot. Then I'm going to put in, there's not an exact measurement. Okay, I usually put in about one of these spoonfuls of coconut oil. Alrighty. And then, like I said, you could put a little sweetener if you want. I typically don't, but for this demonstration, I'm going to put a little bit. I just put a little bit. The other thing that I put in it that just makes it amazing, some spices. All right. A little bit of cinnamon. All right. Now, when I used to make my regular coffee in the past, I didn't put spices in it. It was just straight up coffee with half and half or heavy cream. But with this one of the things that Alvin taught me, he said, the combination of some cardamom and cinnamon is just actually a very nice, gives it a nice flavor, and it actually is healthy, and it's really good. So there you go. The coffee, the coconut oil. I put a little bit of honey and then some spices. Okay. All right. And now I'm going to blend it up. You don't really have to blend it up that long. I mean, look at that. It's just a beautiful, creamy looking coffee, and it actually tastes amazing. So normally I use a coffee mug, but again, because I'm showing you this, I'm going to pour it into this glass just to show you how beautiful it looks, that creamy texture. All right, so let's test it out. It's so good. It is so good. It just has that rich coconut flavor. You can taste the creaminess of it because it is an oil that you put in there. Coconut oil is so good for you, so good for you. There are a lot of people that even recommend taking a teaspoon or a tablespoon of coconut every day. So coconut oil, and then you've got the flavors with the spices and a little bit of honey. If you are looking for a healthier version of coffee, this is it. You found it. And another thing that I want to say, I want to put a plug in for making coffee at home. You know exactly what you're putting in your coffee when you make it. And it's so easy. You saw what I just did right now. It takes minutes. Okay. It just takes minutes. And you know exactly what you're putting in it. When you go and get coffee out and about, you really don't know what's being put in there. Plus, there's all sorts of flavorings, liquids, syrups, and all sorts of things that they're putting in there. It's a lot of chemical. Even the little Keurig cups, you have to be careful with those because a lot of those also have chemicals in them. Also, the hot water is going through that little plastic cup, so you're also getting microplastics that you're then drinking in your coffee. If you want something healthier, this is definitely a healthier option for you, and it's something you can make at home. You know exactly what's going into it. And so cheers to coffee.